Hi, Harlem and Kate. This is the recording for episode 48, Not Goal Setting for Dummies. So I'll leave you a bit of background noise. I want to talk about goal setting, not goal setting for dummies, but goal setting for success. How many times have you watched videos or listened to podcasts about goal setting? How many years have you failed to achieve the goals you set out for yourself? The bottom line is that if your reason isn't strong enough, then your goal will be weak. And in this episode, I'm going to share some of the most powerful insights you will hear. Contrarian, of course, but they will result in your success if you follow them. But before we even start on the topic of goals itself and how to set them, why they are important is so much more interesting and illuminating than anything else. Why does everyone bang on about goal setting? I suppose what you can think of is that setting a goal is the personal version of creating a business plan. Without a business plan stating its purpose, its income targets, marketing and production targets, etc., a business would fail. In part because it would have no direction, and also because a business plan is a tool to enable clear communication with everyone involved in the success of the business, from the management who set the goal at the top, through the staff who implement the goal, and even the contractors and suppliers who are, if you like, peripheral and supporting the goal. On a personal level, a goal can have the same effect. At first, it helps you, the management of your brain and your life, identify and then clarify what it is you want to achieve over a given period. There's nothing stopping you having daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals, of course, the annual, maybe even 3 to 5 year goals. There's no limit to what you want to achieve. Once your goal or goals are formulated, it becomes a communication tool. First, and most importantly, with yourself. You and your unconscious mind need to be focused on achieving the same outcomes. And I've spoken about mindset so many times over the last 8 to 9 months. You'll know how important I think mindset is. The other, I don't know if you like, people or components that are involved in the second of your goal or the success. Let me try that again. The other people or partners that are involved in the success of your goal could be your family, could be your employer, could be your employees if you're the manager of a business, might be the person who trains you down the gym, could be anybody around you, depending on the subject of your goal. But first and foremost, it has to be you and your mind that know what you want to achieve. And then that gives you the clarity to let other people know, no, I don't want to continue in that behavior, or this is the new behavior I am going to continue with. This is how we are going to spend our money, or this is not how we're going to spend our money. And it's that communication tool that is also really important to your success. Now, if we go back to business goals again, they are typically run on a financial year basis. So when the business starts or when a company is formed, every year the goals are refreshed. If it's good goal setting, there's the wider picture of 3 to 5 years that gives the bigger direction. And then there is the what is the focus for this year, the sub goal or the sub business plan, the annual business plan within the overarching larger plan, if you like. Personal goals frequently start in the new year. Part of me wonders whether this is driven more by past overindulgences or maybe the pure reflection as a year comes to an end. In fact, your personal goals can be set whenever you feel like it. And I do feel that the need to set an And I do believe the need to set an audacious goal starting in January, when the weather's at its worst, the sunlight is at weakest, well, certainly in England it is, and Northern Europe, is actually a recipe for disaster. I mean, who feels motivated when the mornings are still dark and your goal was to get up and go for a run every day? there are, if you've ever been up that early, there are people that do go running with a torch. But I would imagine that those with head torches and all the gear to go running in the dark are the sort of people that were already doing it. They're not normally people who start on the 1st of January and then decide this is how they're going to start out in the cold, the rain, and the dark. I even made a post on Facebook recently saying that I was struggling to get out of bed and who was with me not wanting to get out of bed. And yes, I know I could buy a sunlight machine. In fact, I've even got one somewhere. That's not the point. I suppose some of the point is looking at your personal energy levels and mood. In this example for the Facebook post, it wasn't about my energy and my mood. They were absolutely fine. It was just warmer under the duvet, and I was reading a particularly good book. But it certainly is going to impact on your ability to set your goals if you're not getting out of bed till 11 or 12. And I have to say, having Bob bringing me a coffee in bed made staying in bed even easier. That's not the point of this podcast. The point of this podcast is clear the way. If you don't find it easy to set, for example, fitness goals now that require you to get up early or train after work in the evenings and the light isn't there for you, then set some other goals now and bring those goals, the fitness goals that maybe require you going out walking or being outdoors, bring them in at Easter when all of a sudden the weather is a lot warmer or the days are a lot longer, or however it fits wherever you are. Or instead of picking a goal that involves you going for a run every morning, pick a goal that involves you exercising indoors. And it's the same with your financial goals. If right now you are struggling with your financial goals, actually now is the time to do your financial goals. It's almost the reverse of the why make things hard for you. In this case, what's making hard for you is not the dark. So don't fight the dark to go out and exercise. Find an alternative exercise inside or exercise a bit later in the year. With a financial goal, if you're struggling, now is very definitely the time to dig in and find yourself some goals that are going to help that financial situation for you. So I'd like to ask you this question. What would make your time spent goal setting worth your energy and your effort? And that's really a very key question. So we're talking about setting a goal. Before we even get to the point of whether you achieve the goal or how you achieve the goal, you're going to have to put some time into setting, in inverted commas, the right goal, an appropriate goal for you. And if you cannot see the reason for setting the goal, then why would you allocate the time, the energy, and the effort to making it the best possible goal for you? That's not the biggest, but the most appropriate goal for you. If there's no reason for you to set a goal, then setting one is also unlikely to make a difference. And that's why a lot of goals in the new year focus on health as a kickback to the overindulgence. And then a couple of weeks in, when people have forgotten the indulgence, they drift away from the goals again. So this whole point of the why right at the beginning is very, very important. And I was talking to my personal trainer back before Christmas, and he was talking about how he had already started his 100-day training commitment at the beginning of December. He was going to train every day for 100 days, and he still is doing that training. His rationale is that he wanted to improve his fitness level and change his shape. And rather than wait until the 1st of January, he would start sooner so that he didn't have to face that hurdle of starting his training on the 1st of January, a day when he'd maybe had a late night before, and following potentially a week of a combination of overeating and slothness. I don't know if that's a word. I might have made that up, but being lazy. So he trained every day up to Christmas Day. He then trained on Christmas Day and Boxing Day and through to New Year. And so when he then had to train on the 1st of January, New Year's Day, he was already in his flow. He already had his rhythm. So sometimes moving that date of when you set the goal or when you set the goal to start is really powerful in terms of enabling you to be successful. So if your goal setting has not started yet, or Maybe it's started and has already stopped just a few weeks into the new year. How can I help you make a difference? Right. The first question is this. Answer this question. Do you have a goal in mind? If yes, why is it important to you? And I would urge you, as I always do, preferably if you're not driving, stop what you're doing while you're listening to this. See if you can get out a pen and paper. If not, take your phone and make a note. Make a note to answer this question. This goal that you have in your mind, why is it important to you? And if you have set goals already, then answer this question about the goals that you have set for yourself. Why is it important for you to achieve this goal? Now, if you don't have a goal already, you've not created one, why would setting a goal about whatever it is make a difference in your life? If you remember back to episode 21, I did a podcast called What Questions Are You Asking Yourself? And I talked about why, what, and then how. And if you don't understand why, then the what is irrelevant. And when you understand why and what, then the how makes sense. Why do you want or need a goal? And this must be your answer, not because Vicky said it was a communication tool with my unconscious. Why does that matter to you? For a health example, looking at Ian, my personal trainer, health is his business. And looking like the product that he's selling is an important marketing message. You can't really be a successful fat blob of a personal trainer. So for him, it's good on a personal level for his health, because generally being healthy and fit and at an optimum weight is good for your health and your life longevity and your aches and your pains and your digestion. But equally, it's also, because he's in the business, very good for him to look like the product that he is trying to sell. And he is doing exceptionally well. Not that he was, by my mind, out of shape at all, but already just, I don't know, how many days will we be? I think he's just done his 50th day, something like that. And you can see the difference that 50 days of consistent focus on what he wants to achieve has made a difference for him. So from a clarity perspective, and you know how clarity is one of the first principles of a wealthy life, from a clarity perspective, how do you want this life to be? And therefore, what goal do you need to set in order to help you achieve the life you want to live? And then why does that matter? This why is so important. What are the consequences of not setting this goal? And do the negative effects of not setting and achieving the goal actually matter to you? So in a sense, the positive of setting the goal has to outweigh the negative of not setting or not achieving the goal. And what you're trying to do there is not trying, what you are setting up to do is set a, if you like, a magnet of force, so that here's you in the middle. And on the one hand, you've got setting a goal and achieving a goal. On the other hand, you've got not setting a goal and not achieving a goal. And you want to make the emotion, the positivity, and the future rest and hang and be linked to the goal setting and the achieving of the goal. And you want to create a negative emotion and feeling and drive around the not setting the goal and not achieving the goal and the consequences of not setting a goal. So where you are in the middle, you'll have this force pushing you away from what you don't want. I don't want these consequences. And the force of not wanting those consequences is going to propel you forward. And then the positive impact of achieving your goal is going to pull you forward. So you're going to get pushed towards your goal and pulled towards your goal. Now, if pushing and pulling all in the same direction isn't going to help you, then maybe we should have a chat, and I don't know what else we'll need to think of. If you're still struggling with what the goal should be, or maybe even what your life should be, look at the impact that you've had on the lives of others. And then maybe just reflect back on the past year. whose lives did you make a difference to? I watched a lot of these Facebook posts in the early part of the year talking about how great 2022 had been for people, for their businesses. They'd employed this many people and they'd done that much turnover and all of this sort of stuff. And I was thinking, shall I put up a post like that for myself? And it didn't resonate with me, because actually it's not about me, because I'm quite happy and I'm quite fine. And, you know, one of the best things we did last year is book and pay for our 1 month off holiday this year. We built the house and we got married, and you know, all of that. So I've got plenty of my things that give me a buzz about a sense of achievement and everything else. So I didn't feel like posting come bragging on Facebook was going to add value to anybody else. What matters to me is the difference that I can make to other people's lives. How many clients had I helped? And I was just struck over Christmas and New Year when I was reflecting. You know, one of my clients, she's a full-time nurse. She's a mother of 4 children under 8. And just before Christmas, she completed on a new 4-bedroom home for her and the children out of London. She's moving out of her flat into a 4-bedroom house, and she's got 3 buy-to-let properties generating income for her to supplement her work as a nurse, which she loves to do. But then she's going to be in a position where she can now choose a job based on her passion, rather than choose a job based on the need to generate income to support herself and her 4 children. That, I don't know how I could ever have dreamt of a goal to achieve that. But as an outcome, as a legacy, if you like, for me, it's such a powerful force that it drives me forward to keep doing the business, to keep doing the podcast, to keep helping people invest in property, to keep having the wealth strategy lessons with people. And another one of my clients, Mark, he phoned me at the beginning of January, and through the conversation we got talking, and he said, what charities did I support? And I, you know, named a few of the classic ones. And he said, haven't you got a personal charity that you support? And I said, yes. A very dear friend of mine, Julia Ambler, or Dr. Julia Ambler, and her business partner and wife, Tracy Brand, run a charity in South Africa called Umdudozi. And it's a children's palliative care charity, bringing much needed support, medical advice, social support and care to the families of children that are dying, and supporting the families through the process of letting go, and supporting the children to have a quality end of life experience. And she's some strange sort of angel walking the planet. That's a whole nother story. I'll add in a link for you so you can see the work. And if you follow me on Facebook, you've probably seen me make the posts anyway. Mark then went on to preface his next sentence with, don't argue with me. And he was quite stern, and it was a bit like, that's unusual for you to talk to me like that. He went, what's your bank account? And I went, why? And he went, don't argue with me. Okay. So I gave him my bank account details, and he transferred £2,000 to my account. And he said to me, I'm going to give you some money, and I want you to pass that money on to the Umdudozi charity. And I'm giving you this money as a way of saying thank you to you for helping me become a wealthy man. And, you know, I'm doing it. Oh, Mark, it's all right. You don't have to do that. And when I checked my bank account, and it was £2,000 that was in there, I was absolutely gobsmacked. I had to ring him back up and go, Mark, I think you've made a mistake. You maybe added 1 nought too many or something like that. And he went, no, don't argue with me. I wanted to give you that money. I am a wealthy man. I'm now in my mid-50s, and I do not have to worry about money. I've retired from work. My wife has now retired from work. We have more than enough income coming in from the investments that I'd helped him to get over the last few years, so that he doesn't have to work anymore. And he wanted to create that legacy moment where he could pass on some of his gratitude in a way that was meaningful for others. Now, I don't know whether that's resonated and created an emotional moment for you. It gave me goosebumps at the time. It gave me goosebumps when I was able to phone Julia and Tracy and say to them, oh my goodness, this client has just given me £2,000 for you. And her face was a picture of shock and of gratitude. And then, to be in that place that I know how much difference that money will make to people in South Africa, and not least because of the currency conversion. 2,000 English pounds into rand is a phenomenal amount of money. What if you could change the lives of children and families for the better? Would that motivate you? Or is it something closer to home? Is it your family? Is it animals? What is it that would motivate you to make a difference? And maybe that's the equivalent of your 3 to 5 year goal. Not that you have to wait 3 to 5 years to do it, but your bigger goal, if you like, all the way around the principles of a wealthy life to legacy. What is the bigger picture? What is this all for? And having that, and then just pick something that you're going to work on this year that is going to lead you towards that. And then who knows, maybe at the end of this year, you could pass on £1,000 to charity or £2,000 to charity if you wanted to. And if not, pass on money to charity, but pass on time or pass on knowledge, pass on experience. Quite frankly, just smiling at everybody you see in the street can make a massive difference to me. We talk about mental health. What if we all smiled at one another? And that was our goal for this year. Once you've made a real connection with the purpose, the why of your goal, then you can start to look at the what. So let's move to the what now. So what is your goal? You can use the SMART method of breaking it down into being very specific about what the goal is, being very measurable so that it's achievable, realistic, and timely. Or you can go back if you don't like that, and you can listen to episode 5 where I talked about setting goals to win and falling in love with a spreadsheet. And I used the acronym FIRM. And that very much comes at goal setting from a very financial perspective. So whether you want to come in from, if you like, a heart-led side and then make it smart, or whether you want to come in from a financial and logical side and make it firm, there are tools out there that you can use. But being clear and descriptive and using numbers that you can measure is really, really important. Being realistic. And I'm going to explain this because I used to say that the last thing I ever wanted my goals to be was realistic. And that was because I always wanted to push myself. And in all honesty, if what you're actually worried about is that your goals are too simple and that you'll reach them too quickly, you can always set another goal, because goals are like puppies. They're not just for Christmas. And if you achieve a goal now, then slap another goal on the back and shush all the goals up and then just go again. That's not a problem. I worry for you that if you make your goals, all your goals, too audacious, then the potential for achieving them is hampered maybe by your starting position. So, for example, if you weighed, and I'm going to stick to weight and I'll do your financial one at the moment. If you're 24 stone and you want to achieve 7 stone, and you're just going to do that through exercise, and you want to achieve that in the next 3 months, well, it's probably very unhealthy and probably extremely unlikely that you can lose that much weight and still be alive by then. If you are, and I know you're not the sort of audience, but it's an example. If you were someone, or you knew someone who was on benefits and they decide to set a goal to be a multi-millionaire by, the end of this financial year, or the end of this academic year, or the end of this calendar year, whatever time period we're talking about, is that realistic if they are still in a position where they don't have a job, they don't have a business idea, they don't have any backers, they don't have any seed capital, they don't have a product, they don't have clients, and therefore you set a goal like that and then don't achieve it, or any goal that is so audacious that you don't achieve it, then does that affect your motivation and your ability to set goals in the future? If you have all of the goals as being really big, and we get halfway through the year and you're looking at your numbers and you've not achieved anything, you're not ticking anything off, you're not adding notes in that you're moving towards those goals, does it demotivate you? And that's That was never a problem for me back in the old days. And when I say old days, I mean before COVID. I would set really big goals and I would still achieve them because I was crazy and it's what I liked doing. And there was something that happened during that period of being at home that made me go, do you know what? Time's more important than all of this. You're never going to see me posting posts about how I've made £1 million or I bought £1 million house or look at this or look at my flash car or any of that, because that's not what motivates me. Where I've gone on holiday, the photos that I've taken, the time that I've spent with my family, that's what drives me. Now, those are not necessarily big and audacious goals, but they are at this point in my life very motivating. That doesn't mean to say that next year I might have got to the stage where, do you know what, I've had enough time being off, I've had enough holidays, I can't ever imagine that moment. But let's just pretend that I do say something mad. And in fact, if you ever hear me say this, do give me a call, because there might be something wrong with me. But imagine I said that I've had enough holidays and what I really want to do is move from working 2.5 to 3 days a week to suddenly working 5 or 6 days a week. Please give me a call and just check that I'm okay, because that would be so unlikely. You know, that's something wrong for me at the moment, is that I can't imagine that. So you are going to have total clarity about why this goal is important to you. You are going to have clarity about what this goal is. And now you can move on to the how. In fact, one how to succeed that I've followed in recent years is literally to set 1 or 2 easy goals, because it builds in these quick wins. It helps you motivate yourself. It proves to you that you're successful, and it proves to you that you can achieve anything you want. And that's actually my most powerful mantra, and something I firmly believe in and have believed in since I did personal development back in, when was it? Before 2008. The sentence is, I know I can achieve anything I set my mind to. Now, I would love you to take out a piece of paper and write that down. I would love you to make some fancy graphic and stick it on your phone as your, locked screen. I know that I can achieve anything I set my mind to. And if you write that down, print it out, stick it on your bathroom mirror or on your bedroom door or on your fridge or on your phone, that mantra in your head, combined with knowing why the goal is important and breaking it down into its specifics so that you can pay attention to it, combined with a couple of quick wins in there to prove to you that you can achieve anything you set your mind to, will guarantee your success. And I firmly believe, in fact, I know and can guarantee that you can achieve anything you set your mind to. The only challenge in here is that you need to set your mind to it. Now, you may have a situation where sometimes your mind is in 2 minds about what you want. And I know that I can have that sometimes. Do I really want to drive the business forward, or do I want to spend more time at home? And there'll be times when you swing between the two. Or, what's more important? Because ordering your goals, is it more important that I earn more money? Is it more important that I spend more time with my family? And again, you'll know from having listened to this podcast that is the dilemma we face on a minutely basis even. And this idea of being in 2 minds and why clarity is so important is what I'm going to talk to you about next week. So for this week, we'll come to a close. Why do you need a goal? What difference will it make? And what are the consequences if you don't set and achieve your goals? Maybe you want to think about what legacy you want to achieve. And once you've got that clarity, then what? Let's get specific. What specifically do you want to achieve? And remember to add in some of those quick wins to prove to yourself that you are successful, that you can achieve goals, that this is an easy thing for you to do once you set your mind to it. Now, I'm starting to set you up ready for the end of this first 50 podcasts. It's coming to an end in a couple of weeks from now. And then I'm going to be turning us full tilt towards property investment and why that makes sense as an investment strategy, no matter the economy, no matter the economic climate, no matter where you live in the world. So until next week, when we'll be talking about how you can achieve anything you want to, thank you for listening. And I hope that I've added a little more whoosh in your life and helped you define the process that will lead to a wealthy life for you, one where you no longer have to work just to pay the bills. Very best wishes.